Alright, today we're going to be doing some proofs with transversals. So by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to fill in the blanks with proofs that use the angle pairs that we learned. Alright, so there are two properties that you do need to know. One is called the transitive property. So in this one, it says that if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So what it's saying that is, since A and C both are equal to B, then they have to equal each other, right? So like if X equals 2 and Y equals 2, since they both equal 2, X and Y equal each other. Right, that's transitive. Substitution is if A equals B, then B can replace A. Right, substitution is when you replace something. If I say X plus Y equals 10 and X equals 3, then 3 plus Y equals 10. So I replaced the X with the 3. So these are two properties that are going to be used in transversal proofs. Make sure you have these written down in your notebooks. Alright, then this is a proof. We're going to fill in the blanks. So first we look here, the given is that A is parallel to B, parallel to parallel, and C and D are parallel. So all those lines are parallel. And our goal is to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 13. Right? Angle 1 and angle 13 are congruent. Right? We can't, those aren't an angle pair because they aren't using the same parallel lines. So we can't just say they are by using one of our angle pairs, so we have to find another way to show that they're equal. Right? So for this one, I left 3 of the reasons blank. So I'm going to show you how to fill those in. First one is really easy. Number 1 is always given. Right? So when you get a proof, if number 1 here is blank, just write given. Right? Number 1 is always given. For number 2, it says that angle 1 is equal to angle 12, but we don't know why. Right? So when you're doing these, you want to look at the diagram as a clue. So angle 1 and angle 12 are here on the diagram. Right? So you want to do is think, alright, see if this is an angle pair. That's a really good place to start. Right? This is an angle pair. This is alternate exterior angles. Right? And those are congruent. Right? So angle 1 and 12 are congruent, and the reason is because they are alternate exterior angles. For number 3, we see that they say that angle 12 is congruent to angle 13. So we look at 12 and 13. This is another angle pair. This time we have alternate interior angles are congruent for that reason. Right, because that's in the diagram, those are alternate interior angles. Okay. Number 4, this is the transitive property that's filled in. I want to point out that we know it's transitive because in row 2, 1 is equal to 12. In row 3, 12 is equal to 13. Since they're both equal to 12, 1 and 13 are equal to each other. Okay, so that's our first one. And the next proof, our given that A is parallel to B. So these two lines are parallel. And our proof, or our goal, is to show that 9 and 14 are supplementary, where they add to 180. Right? So if we look on the diagram, we see 9 and 14, not one of the angle pairs that we learned. So So this one, the whole thing is blank here. So again, number one, you always write given. Always number one. Number two says that angle 9 plus angle 11 is 180. Right? So let's look at angle 9 and angle 11. Those are right next to each other, so they are a linear pair. And linear pairs are always supplementary. And number 3 says that angle 11 is congruent to angle 14. Right, so look at that, angle 11, angle 14. Those are alternate interior. Angles are always congruent. And then number 4 says that angle 9 plus angle 14 is 180. So looking at the two rows above it, I see that it looks very similar to number 2, except that 11 and 14 are different. And in row 3, it says 11 and 14 are equal. This is the substitution property. That was number 2. And we're going to do one more. And this one, our given is that we have two givens. The G and H are parallel, so these lines are parallel. We also see that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. So angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. So what I'm going to do on here is put these arcs. These arcs show that those two angles are congruent. So it's just a visual to help us remember that. So on the reasons list, again, number 1 is always the given. Number 2 says 1 is congruent to 3. So look at the graph. See 1 and 3. Right, here's 1, here's 3. Those are corresponding angles, which are always congruent. So our next row says 2 and 3 are congruent. If we look at 2 and 3, that's these two. Now, our given did not tell us that P and R, the horizontal lines, were parallel. Since P and R were not specified as being parallel, we cannot use angle pairs for 2 and 3. Right? To use an angle pair, you have to be told that their lines are parallel. So we could use 1 and 3 as an angle pair because G and H were parallel, but P and R are not, so we can't use their angle pairs yet. But we can use the two lines above it, right? We'll either write transitive or substitution here. So looking above it, I see that it's first I'm told 1 and 2 are the same, then I'm told 1 and 3 are the same. Right? And my third line now says 2 and 3 are the same. So again, since angle 1 is in both of these, then the other two have to be equal to each other. So 2 and 3 are going to be equal because they're both the same as 1. Right? That was the transitive property. Right? And then, since we now know that 2 and 3 are the same, we can use their angle pair to prove the lines are parallel. So if the angle pair is true, then the lines have to be parallel, right? And those are corresponding angles. So our last one will be because corresponding angles are congruent. Lines are parallel. So that was 3 examples of proofs. So what you're going to do is a little activity on your Go formative where there'll be like 2 or 3 blank, and you have to choose the right thing for the reason. Right? So again, if you have any questions, you have my remind info.